Hello, good evening. So today we're going to be talking about tax 7. We're going to be looking some stuff. So sorry guys for delaying. I've been a little bit busy working on other things, so I just have to squeeze time so that we'll be able to do this right away. So please, I'm really sorry and forgive me. So without wasting much time, I am going to be talking about, actually this video is gonna be a bit lengthy, but let's see what we can do to minimize time, which is very important. And please, if you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and select all notification, and again like this and comment and also share. Your comment is also important. I'll make sure I try my possible best to answer all tasks on this session. And let's go. So today we are talking about islower. Um, so without wasting much time, we are going to go into the stuff which is lower, which is tax 7. So we're asked to write a function that checks for a lowercase character. So it's going to check if you provide a lowercase, and it's going to give you this is a lowercase, or no, this is uppercase. So that's it. So we're asked to use a prototype, which is kind of equivalent to C. So returns true if C is lowercase, then return false if C is uppercase. So C here is what is the parameter that this function is lower is going to be receiving. So whenever you see DEF and a particular word, the DEF stands means that you want to declare a function. Declare a function means that DEF. So then followed by the name of the function. So the name of the function is lower, then followed by a parenthesis, which is this brackets, opening and closing bracket. Now inside the opening and closing bracket, we have what is called parameters. So depends on your function, it can receive one parameter, you can receive two or more parameters, depend on what you want to achieve. So this is only receiving one parameter, which is C, and that is how we declare a function. And you know that whenever you call that, you always end it with a semicolon, and whatever comes next in the next indentation is the remaining code, which is good. So I think with this you are not allowed to import any modules. We are not allowed to use any inbuilt function like str.upper or an str is upper function. So we are not allowed to use that, which is cool. So tips, we are allowed to use ORD. That is the other function. If you can remember clearly, we use this other function to get the ASCII code, so which is very important. I know that you can't forget that if you have been following the previous course, the previous course. So you don't need to understand. Okay, actually I'm going to explain that, because we need to understand what that stuff is doing, especially in this particular aspect of this code. You need to understand the function of islower, and is equals to underscore underscore import underscore underscore, then open bracket and whatsoever. So I'm going to be explaining that in a moment. So actually we are going to be creating two files. One is where we are going to implement whatever we have here, which is the prototype and dictation of C and whatsoever, which is very important. Then secondly, this is going to be the testing environment. We're going to be testing our code to see So this file name will be called 7-main.py, which is very important. So we're not going to waste much time, so we are just going to go into the deal of the day. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to copy that. Then we are going to where we're going to be writing our code. Very important. So that is that. Now the next thing you're going to be doing is I'm going to cd inside desktop like that, then hit enter, then cd to ALX like that, header, then cd to the last part of it, which is 0x01, and hit tab, and we are in there. So if we check here, so this was the last thing we accomplished in our last distance. So the new one we're going to be doing is vi, then it's going to be called 7 dash is lower, if I'm not mistaken. So let me check to confirm if I'm doing the right thing actually. Okay. 7 dash is lower. Yeah, so I'm doing the right thing. So I'll go back here. 7 dash is lower dot py. So I'm creating a new file which is called this. So I'm just going to hit enter, and our stuff is going to be open. So we're just going to call this, sorry, insert mode. So slash, then we have usr, then we have slash, then we have bin, then slash, then python 3, and that's all. So we're gonna go ahead and start. So I'm gonna paste that function we are gonna declare. So we are gonna declare the function which is going to be def, which is declare function, then is lower, then the parentheses and whatsoever we have there. So we have declared a function, and now in this function we want to be communicating with C to know what C have for us. So I'm going to start with if so if C, so because we are communicating with C directly, so if C is so actually I might not know the value of ABC lowercase in the figure of how will I put it, how will I call it, I might not know the position of A or B or the numbers, but actually I know that the number is 97, which is I think small letter A should be that, or capital letter A. Actually I can't remember, but capital letter A or something like that should be A, as and the list there is 122. So from that range of 97, the C here, because actually what is going to be provided inside here, this C means anything. This C you see here means anything, so I can provide A, B, C, or whatever I can provide here. So actually I don't know what I'm going to provide there. So what I'm just going to do is I don't know the value of whether this A or B or C is going to be provided here, so I'm just going to use the order. So just get rid of this and use ord, then inside it, so whatever value they are going to pass into C, if it is A, order is going to convert it to a number, the SSI number. Whether it's C, order is going to convert it to the SSI number. So whatever value they pass through this C, so C here is this parameter that is here. What you see in the function parameter is the same thing that we have in this place. If you take note, take a close look at that, you see the same thing we have here is the same thing we also have here. So now I now say if whatever value provided by the user is greater than equals to um, the value of a. So I'm still going to use another order, ord, because I might not know the value of small letter a. So this is how we used to get it. So like this. So this function will run 97, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken anything, this is going to give us 97. This is going to give us any value depend on what the user is providing. And let me give another condition, and if ord, then whatever the user is going to provide inside is less than equals to. So I'm going to use ord again, like that, for another function. So the last one here will be z, which is letter z, like that. So I'm going to end there, then go to the next line and put through. Let me try capital T here. Okay, let me see. So like that, return true, then else, like else, I'm going to return false.
You don't eat finish.
Okay, let me see. Capital. Okay, that works. So I think this sorts the issue. So that is that for that. Now the next thing you're going to be doing here is you're going to escape this, and we are going to get this from maybe somewhere else and start using it to see what is going to be giving us, or what we are going to get as our outcome. So I am just going to quit here. So like that. So I am going to create our this thing. So I'm just gonna say vi, then 7 dash main, which I'm going to explain later on. So I'm going to copy the code from the other place and paste it here. So let's check it out. So this what we are going to be having there. So I'm just going to copy all this stuff here, like this. Copy. I'm going to explain them later on, so you understand what we are doing here. So that's it. So we are going to execute this to see if it works. So chmod u plus x, like that, then 7 main. So I'm gonna be executing that 7 main, and you see small letter a is lower, h is upper, capital letter A is upper, 3 is upper, small letter J is lower. So you can see all this. So actually the code is working fine. So I'm going to explain the code so you get to know what we are doing here. So now if you look at this very clear, let me reduce the size. Now this is a variable we called, that is lower is a variable. The one I highlighted is a variable, so and it's equal to, so I set this variable to this inbuilt import function. Now let me tell you, this underscore underscore import function is used to import things from other file. So this, whatever you see, this is the name of the file. So whatever you see, whatever value provided inside this parameter of this function is the name of the file. You know that the name of our file is 7-islower.py, so we don't need to add the .py, so we can just put 7-islower just like that, without adding the py. So automatically it knows that there is a .py file there. So that's for this thing. Now if you want to be accessing other functions, other inbuilt functions in it, so you are going to add something like is lower to it. So we are now having dot is lower. Now this dot is lower is coming from, this dot is lower is coming from the function that is inside this file 7-islower. You know that we created a function called islower. So when you put dot islower, I'm accessing only that function. So even though we have 3 functions or 20 functions inside that one file, but the way I put it like this, I'm only importing that function alone, and every other function will not work. So you get the concept. So even though I remove this away, then I call is lower dot is lower and put in bracket and call any value inside, is going to work like properly, is going to work. Now so this is how we import. You put your import function, then the name of the file inside the parentheses with a single quote or a double quote, whichever, then dot the name of the function inside that file, which is lower. So if I go to the previous file and change it to something like small letter, that's the function I put it there. So I'm going to call this import, then the name of the file 7-islower, then dot the name of the function, which is small letter. So now whatever I'm going to be using in my print statement after this format function, you see that we have we are using the function here. You can see we use the function here is lower a. We use the function here too. So instead of we having is lower here, we see something like small letter. You can see something like that. So now inside it, look at the logic they apply. So they put a, which is this small letter a, is then whatever that is provided there. So they now write a format. Now this format has the way it presents is if and else statement. Now this is how you read it. Lower, I want you to print, let lower be printed there. That means whatever you see inside the quote, yeah, let lower be printed there if whatever there is small letter a. So if this function is small letter a, or if it is true, you know that we create a function that is going to be returning true or false. So anything you put if on always return true. So if 1 is equals to 1, automatically it returns true, else returns false. Even though you not add the true or false statement on its own, if statement always return true. Whether you are making a negative statement, is always return, or you are making a positive statement, is always returns true. That is for the if statement. Then else statement returns false. You understand? So if this function returns true, if this function we have here, sorry, I think it's too, let me increase it more. So if this function, if this function is true, that means the function here is the function, is a small letter, then let it print this lower here. Else let it print the opposite here, which is upper. So you can see that. So it's going to print the upper. So the same thing too here, lower if this returns true. You know that when you put a capital letter, it's going to return false. So because it is a false, this is going to be printed instead of the lower to be printed. Understand? So that is that. So I'm still going to explain this in details in further class. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and smash the notification button because I'm still going to do more for a clearer explanation. Thank you.